So today we're going to be talking about handling betrayal. And if you're anything like me, then you know how it feels to love a person and feel like you're going to spend the rest of your life with this person and to be betrayed by the person. And you just hit rock bottom because it's like you don't know what to do. You are very confused, hurt, and all the feelings that come along with that. And when we're at this rock bottom place, it kind of feels like we don't know where to go from there. And that's kind of why I even started this journey, is because first I wanted to help women not even get to that point. I wanted to help women not have to get to the point of being with somebody who would betray them. And obviously we all know anything can happen, people are people, so you can't really prevent that per se. But what you can do is try your best to allow God to pick the person for you instead of us trying to pick people out of our insecurities. And so I wanted to help women with that, but God told me that he wanted me to help walk people through just like I did. So people who have experienced heartbreak, who have experienced betrayal, walking those women through the journey after they have already experienced the heartbreak. And so that's basically what this podcast is about. Who this podcast is for women like that, women that have already experienced the heartbreak and who's ready to be on a journey of wholeness, a journey of self-development, healing, a spiritual journey, all of that, to get closer to God and get whole within themselves, so that we will be able to hear God when he says this is or isn't the person. We will be able to follow through with not picking people just because they're cute or because they make me feel good or whatever the case is. We will have a bigger purpose for why we're even with this person or want to be with this person or want to marry this person. And so that's what this whole podcast is centered around. And so I just wanted to go through some of the steps that I went through during my rock bottom moment of experiencing betrayal and how I handled it. And so I wanted to share that with you guys. So the first thing that I did was I tried to get my strength from other people who had the strength that I didn't have. And so what I did was I listened to a million sermons. I was playing sermons back to back to back to back because I really just wanted to hear encouragement. I think that's what it was. It was I just wanted to be encouraged, because you get so low and so depressed and stuff in that time. You just want to hear something to bring your spirits up, or something that gives you hope that there is something on the other side of the pain. And so I continued to listen to sermons over and over and over again, and that kept me from falling into a really deep depression. And because I was encouraged and hopeful in some type of way because I was listening to sermons, I then went into therapy, because that also made me look at myself and say, why did I get myself here in the first place? What was going on to the point where I was with somebody who would do this to me? I had to basically look myself in the mirror and take responsibility for the fact, how did I even get here? And so I went to therapy, and I work with a therapist to figure those insecurities out. and figure out the reasoning why I was even there in the first place and how to move forward with that. The other reason why we want to go to therapy is because we also have all, like, after experiencing betrayal like that, you have all these like negative talk that you'll do, like, am I enough? Like, what did I do wrong? Like, what's wrong with me? All of this type of stuff that we kind of conjure up in our heads. And in reality, it's nothing about us per se. It's nothing that has anything to do about our worth. It has everything to do behind the insecurities that we had going into these relationships, picking the person that we picked. And all we have to do is be more secure in ourselves, more secure in God, which at that point of after betrayal is really hard to do because you don't trust anything. Like, you don't trust others, you don't trust yourself, you don't even trust that you even hear God correctly after you go through something like that. And so it's a really hard spot to be in. So yeah, definitely sermons helped, going to therapy helped to talk it out and work it out. And also the other thing is forgiveness. So forgiveness as well, because these people who betray us are out living their lives, whatever lives they betrayed us for, like, they're out living those lives. And so it's like we're in the house or in our depression, sad and moping and bitter and angry and all of that stuff, and like us feeling that way has no effect on the other person. Like, the more bitter we are, the more angry we are, it does not affect that other person at all. So they're out having fun, living their life or doing whatever, and then we're stuck on the other side, all sad and bitter. And so it's like, we have to forgive, not for that other person to get off the hook or whatever. It's to help ourselves. Like, we have to not put that type of negativity and stress on ourselves to be angry at somebody who is not worth us even stressing about. Because if they were able to betray you and do something like that to you, then why do you want to hold on to all the stress that comes with not letting it go and not forgiving? And yes, it is truly, truly easier said than done. But I have walked through it, and that's the only reason why I can say it now, is that because I am on the other side of it, it would have been so much easier if I would have heard this at the beginning of my journey and just listened to the fact, like, just forgive. And it's like, it's literally a daily thing. Like, you think you forgive one time, but really you have to ask God to continuously help you forgive daily. Like, it's literally a daily thing, especially if you have kids with the person. Maybe it'll be easier if you did, like, if people got married or was in a relationship with somebody and that happened and you didn't have any attachments to that person after that, maybe it'll be easier. But if you have kids with this person, it's definitely a daily asking God to help you forgive. And then lastly, what helped me is reframing the situation, not asking God, like, why did this happen to me? Why did you let this happen to me? Or any of those types of things, like, why? Basically reframing it and looking at it like, what is the lesson here? Like, there's something, God, that you're trying to teach me in this. There's something that I can grow from in this. Or it's something that will help me be a better person, something in here that will help me find my purpose, find my passion. Like, looking at it from that angle of, like, what are you trying to teach me in this, rather than looking at it from the angle of negativity. It's always better to change your narrative and change your story behind the things that you're going through. Because if you're only focused on the negative, then nothing good is going to come. Your life is going to continue to be negative. But if you reframe and you look at things in a positive sense, and you look at basically how God turns everything for good, like, even though this thing is not good, God can turn it for your good. And so what is the good? Asking God, what is the good out of this? Like, what is the lesson out of this? And that is literally the thing that really sparked me and turning my pain to purpose is literally looking at what was the good that comes out of this. And one of the good things that came out of it was my children's book. That was the first thing, was like, God, I never want my daughter to experience what I'm experiencing right now. So what can I do to allow her to never experience this type of pain? And one of the things was her identity in Christ, allowing her to know her identity in Christ at a young age. And that is how I came up with my children's book. And so that is one piece, one huge piece to the puzzle, is basically reframing and figuring out what is the good in this negative situation. So that is it, you all. And I thank you guys for listening. And a dismissive, avoidant attachment is extremely self-reliant, independent, thinking that they don't need anybody to like fulfill their needs. But there is also what we